was nominated as a presidential candidate, there was a big thing about that. Good? About transparency and it's not right and all sorts of criticism. And now in Berbice here, you have the same people, right, selecting a female for that position whom I feel to myself is affiliated in some way to this gentleman, because he wanted on February 1st to elect this person to hold that position, and then subsequently, right, when he held the other election, without us knowing, he elected the same person to head the office. Today, that same person is heading the office.
But do you see this as some sort of betrayal now? Get into the meat of the matter, minus the things that you have said in your letter, which has been publicly ventilated. Do you believe that the MP, in principle, has betrayed the people who has entrusted him with their confidence to represent them in Parliament, to speak on issues of transparency and issues of accountability? Is that betrayal? You have to be honest.
Yes, that is betrayal. Because you can be championing transparency, accountability, and against corruption, and you're doing the same thing. Right? That is hypocritical to the extreme. I find that very, very disappointing, disgusting, unprincipled, right? You name it, all the negative words. Because as a member of Parliament, right, he should understand that he's holding a very high office in this country, and people, they have certain amount of trust and confidence in him, and he has betrayed that. Not only me, right? He has betrayed everyone in Berbice, because he's an MP of Berbice, good? Not an MP as per se of the AFC alone, right? He's representing the region, good? And you are that figure, right? And you should condone to certain principles and adhere to certain principles, because you are no longer AFC MP alone, right?
Are you dissatisfied with the manner in which the national executive of the Alliance for Change is dealing with the issue? And do you find it disrespectful that even after penning 2 letters, sending several emails to no less a person than Mr. Ramchatan, who was running to become president just last year, and you've gotten a sort of lukewarm response or no response at all with respect to these very important allegations that you're making with respect to corruption within the AFC, cronyism within the AFC, and the lack of transparency?
Okay, let me just read a part of my email to him on April 19th. Ramayya is not only unaccountable for party funds, but now he is alienating hard-working members like myself and Donna. The very thing the AFC is against. I will not stand by idly and allow Ramayya to get away with the very thing that caused me to join the AFC in 2005. If I have to go to the media, I will be most willing to take that course. I will not allow corruption to become cancerous in the AFC. Myself and my family have suffered a lot since we joined the AFC, and will not allow this person to add salt to our wounds. I do hope to hear from you as soon as possible before I take this to the next level.
Has the Honourable Member of Parliament and Chairman of the Alliance for Change, Mr. Ramchatan, responded to your email?
No.
And has he called you?
No.
Has he called you since the first letter?
No.
Has he called you since the first news report?
No.
Has he called you since the second news report was published?
No.
Mr. Ramayya?
To date, no. No communication.
What do you read into that? Is that a clear signal to you that what you're raising is not important? We have other issues to deal with that are more important? Or does it say to you that the people at Berbice and whatever problems they're experiencing is not important until another election?
Well, it seems so, because if you cannot handle an issue like this, and another issue, another time, I emailed him, you know, and the thing is, he has no principle.
Who has no principle?
The AFC leader, Mr. Ramchatan. Listen to this April 23rd email to him, right? April 23rd. Dear Mr. Ramchatan, Dana and I could empathize with you on your feeling of betrayal by APNU. We felt the same way when we were deliberately omitted from the invitation list to Ramayya's election meeting. Can you imagine that there were not enough members to form a committee for the RMC, but the election went ahead? As a party leader, as a party's leader, your silence is deafening on this matter. Where is the transparency and accountability in Berbice? We owe the PPP and the PNC an apology.
But what would you say in principle that you owe the PPP and the PNC an apology for?
Because we have been lambasting them all along for transparency and accountability and corruption.
And now that is evident within.
That's right. I came with a clean heart. I said that this is it. This is the real deal. Right? AFC is what this country needs. Now it's dawning to me. Not dawn. It's already. The sun is way up. Right? And I'm saying that there is no transparency and accountability and lots of corruption.
But minus that fact now, the ruling party had said that persons in Berbice were fooled or duped into voting for the AFC. Then came you, then came Ramayya, then came several other persons who said, place your confidence in the Alliance for Change. They're different. This will not happen. The very same things that some of the other persons on the other side of the benches in the opposition has accused the government for and the PPP are the very same things that you're saying during our interview now that the Alliance for Change is guilty of at this point in time. What I want to get from you now, if this matter is not resolved amicably, because obviously since April 19th when you penned your first letter, now in May, if it's not resolved, what will be the next best step for you and all of the other aggrieved members of the Alliance for Change that feels both betrayed by Ramayya and betrayed by the party in proper?
Well, to be honest, right, at this point in time, I'm so upset about what's happening and that the party leadership has not seen it fit to communicate to me. And in fact, aspersions are being cast that I sold out to the PPP and all of that.
But did you have, that's a good point. Before you even continue, did you have any meetings with the People's Progressive Party Civic? Did you have any secret deals with them that you were going to expose or what was happening in the Alliance for Change for some financial reward? Did the party, and be very honest because this is a one-on-one interview, and I'm going to ask all of the questions that the public want to know, did the PPP make any offer to Yusuf saying, do this and you will get this?
Never. I have never even spoken to anyone about what I was going to do. I did not even tell Donna nor Mike Hinson what I was about. In fact, the only person that knew what I was going to do is my immediate family, because I discussed everything with them, with my wife, with my children, and we are going to go through things, and they are going to advise me what to do. And they told me that what I'm doing is right, but I may be crucified. But I'm willing to take that chance, because it seems like crucifixion is not a bad idea at all, right? Because I'll tell you something, not one person in the PPP have I approached to discuss anything, and now I am hearing at a meeting at Train Line, say Mr. Ramayya saying that a person is attacking him because the person sold out to the PPP. I think that is ridiculous to the highest extent.
Do you believe that there are other persons in Berbice that feel the same way that you feel now with respect to Mr. Ramayya and how he's dealt with the issue of party funds proper, then the elections after, and now there's the deafening silence from the Alliance for Change? Do you regret your decision, or not regret, or are you having second thoughts now about your decision that you made in 2005 to join this party that seemed to have the perfect picture up, the perfect portrait that would say we're ready to take Guyana forward?
Well, definitely that image I had has been shattered. Because if the leadership in this party cannot address something like this, right, and allow this cronyism and intransparency and unaccountability to take place, then what am I doing? Right? What am I saying? Right? My family right? And my friends, I discuss things with them. And I will tell you something, members, there are other members within the AFC, councillors as well, who are afraid. I don't know for what. Losing what, I don't know, right? They're afraid for the names to be called. Only this morning, I spoke with a councillor at the Portman Market, and he told me that I'm in the process of being expelled from the party.
He told you that you were in the process?
Yes. Imagine a councillor telling me at the Portman Market this morning that I'm in the process of being expelled.
Are you afraid of expulsion?
No. I am not afraid of expulsion, right? Not at all.
Would you be surprised if after you would have gone public with both this interview that we're doing here for the purposes of broadcast, and secondly, all of your statements made after that you were removed from your position as regional councillor for the Alliance for Change, and steps are made to either marginalize you because you've spoken outwardly about corruption that has taken place inside the party? Would you be surprised if something like that happens?
No, not at all. But as per my marginalization, they don't have the power to do that. I'm a very contented individual, right? I'm satisfied with my station in life, right? I have no ambition for big positions, right? I'm very much satisfied.
Mr. Ramayya, and I must do some, give credence to obviously what he said with me during the interview, because I've both interviewed you as an AFC councillor, and I've also interviewed Mr. Ramayya as a member of parliament, and I've also interviewed Mr. Ramjatan. So I have gone through the entire pillar to get to the bottom of the issue. He said that you were bitter and power drunk. He also said that if he had his way, you would not have been an AFC councillor. Now, would you respond to that, given the fact that you only said a few minutes ago that people were now seeking to tint your character in Berbice?
Yes, definitely, because before, in fact, on February 1st, when that first election, what they claimed to be unconstitutional, when that election was held, Ramayya was a person who encouraged other persons to nominate me as the chairman for the RMC. And minutes later, he regretted that. Right? And that's where his bitterness started, not mine. Right? I'm bitter with issues, not personality. I'm too big for that.
Do you believe that the people at Berbice now need to open their eyes wider, given the fact that lots of parliamentarians will come to them, say one thing at the train lines or on the streets, go to parliament and say another set of things, and then go on television and say a completely different set of things? This is not with respect to Mr. Ramayya in particular or at all. This is just generally. Should the people of Berbice really now wake up and recognize, who are really championing the
Well, you see, the thing is that some people feel that Berbicians are gullible. They're uneducated. They're farmers, they're cane cutters, and they could come here and do what they want. That is not so anymore, right? And that's the reason why I have stood up to take this position. Because I, as an educator, if I don't do it, who's going to do it? Right? Berbicians need to be educated that don't trust all that comes and they're glittering in gold and lofty promises. Right? Know the reality. Right? Because only when you know the reality, you're going to know what's coming next.
While you may have made that statement, why should we trust you? And why should the people of Berbice have confidence in terms of what you are saying now with respect to the Alliance for Change and the corruption that you have seen taking place within the party?
Good.
Why should they trust Yusuf
Good.
as opposed to Ramayya?
They have seen me on the campaign trail. They know what I stood for. Good. And they knew that, this man has nothing personal to gain by doing this here. In fact, I have things to lose, maybe. Right? And the reason why they should trust me is because there are a lot of members out there and supporters who know what's happening in Berbice here. But the thing is, many of them, they felt that, or they're feeling that, we have made a choice and now we don't want to go and admit that we are wrong.
But were they wrong to vote for the Alliance
Right?
for Change?
Well, I'm not going to say that they were wrong,